And we will go to Isabel Oakeshott's special report in about half an hour, but she's with me for this full hour. Welcome, Isabel.
Hello.
And let's talk first about this Euro summit at Blenheim Palace. First of all, apparently Starmer's trying to forge a reset deal with France, with Europe, in order apparently to sort of exchange migrants. We send some of ours back and they send more of theirs to us. It doesn't sound like a solution to me. But before we get to that, let's talk about this £84 million, because he's just sort of stood at the podium in his vicar style. It's like a provincial vicar.
I literally thought, well, I wasn't actually watching him at that time. I was listening to him when he was doing his announcement, and it reminded me of one of those dreariest of preachers that I was subjected to as a child. Sunday, every single Sunday, with their voice that just guaranteed to make you feel really resentful about having to be there. Gosh, he's bad, isn't he?
Yeah, he's really sanctimonious and preaching. I have today.
Oh, it was awful. I nearly thought they were about to announce the next psalm.
Yeah, and please, Keir, we've got it on board. You're for change. Stop saying it. It's pathetic. It's moronic. And a lot of our listeners and viewers are finding it pretty moronic that he's going to send this £84 million to Africa. This is to encourage charitable projects, to encourage employment and industry and agriculture.
Kevin, do you know what? You can actually stop there.
Blah, blah, blah.
Something really weird happened to me today.
Yeah.
So there was, late this afternoon, there was a flurry of excitement on social media that one or more migrants had actually been sent back to France. And I had this moment where I thought, oh my God.
They're going to do something.
Have they plotted this incredible rabbit out of the hat? They've actually got a plan. And I was thinking, this is amazing. You know, I'm going to have to admit I was totally wrong. You know, they are actually going to do something. And guess what? It turned out to be absolutely nothing. And even worse than that, Sir Keir Starmer is so weak and frankly not as intelligent or as politically astute as I thought he was, that he didn't even claim any credit for it. So he had the opportunity to say, this shows, it's just an indication of a new era of cooperation. He could easily have said, this shows the direction things are going in, but he wasn't bright enough to do that. And then he went on to give the most breathtakingly bad speech. You know, it was so weak that I listened with my mouth just agape, because it said nothing other than we're humanitarian in our attitude to this, and we're going to, and I could just tell you would have been getting as annoyed as I would, because he said smash the vile gangs.
Smash the gangs.
Several times. He actually said that. But what he went on to go on about eventually was that it had to be tackled at source, which you and I can agree on. But the source isn't saving the world, is it? No. The source isn't sorting out Africa, which is broadly what he was saying with his announcement of a paltry, frankly, in terms of the scale of the problem of sorting out Africa, £84 million. The source is the market for the Channel crossing specifically. And that is the only thing he can realistically tackle. You can't tackle global mass movement of people, which is driven by all sorts of things. You can't tackle things on that scale. You can't tackle the devastating centuries-old problems that Africa has as a subcontinent. What you can tackle is a specific market for channel crossings, and nothing he said today gives rise to any confidence that any of that will change. What a fantastic political opportunity for the right in this country. What a terrible fate for our country in the meantime.
You're so right, Isabel. I thought when I heard that this boat had been sent back to France, I thought, my God, I'm going to have to go in that studio and start saying, well, here's to Labour. Well done, Keir. It turns out that this has happened before. What it was a migrant boat in distress halfway across the channel, and the French actually asked the British, can you help us? Can you help us get this back to France? Which is what we did. So it was just the circumstances that dictated the safety of migrants. They were
in
required.
That individual instance.
And it's happened before. But what I thought about that was, I thought that if you turned the boats round and you took them back to France, it was a surefire way for them all to die. That it was lethal. Yeah. But hey ho, folks, it can be done. But this was purely a safety operation. Nothing to read into that. And
but he should have claimed a bit of credit
Keir
for
Starmer
it,
didn't
he?
take that up. I totally agree with that. And this £84 million humanitarian project, which includes humanitarian and health reports,
give me
support,
strength.
skills training and access to education.
Yeah, brilliant. We've had a whole Department of International Development that was basically shut down because people in this country rightly feel that that sort of aid should be wrapped into the Foreign Office. It should be wrapped into what we do on defence. We give away an awful lot of money. That's not even a drop in his rapidly boiling ocean that's supposedly overflowing to cause all the migrants to come here in the first place.
Exactly right. And apart from this, of course, by the way, 84 million. If you gave 84 billion, never mind million, if you gave 84 billion to the African continent, it still wouldn't work. I mean, this is a ludicrous Western politician's idea that, you throw a bit of cash at Africa and all those people who were thinking of leaving the continent to come to Britain, to make their way north, to become asylum seekers, go, we've got 84 million. Oh, look, there's a new irrigation system in our village. I'll stay.
Or we're being given some salsa lessons or something.
It's just absolute nonsense. So he might as well have set fire to that 84 million quid. Let me know what you think, everyone. Do you think that is 84 million pounds well spent? If you do, give me a call, because I'll be interested to know why you think that. But if you don't, also give me a call. 0344499 1000. By the way, last night, lest we forget, Labour's migrant death toll is now 5. Another migrant drowned in the Channel last night. 71 had to be rescued. So the invasion goes on, continues apace. And also, the 90,000, this has happened today, 90,000 we've learned today, 90,000 illegal migrants refused the right to stay and earmarked for deportation for Rwanda, will now be allowed to apply for fast-track asylum. So we sort of knew this before, but fast-track asylum is code for you can stay. That's their solution to the migrant crisis. Just let them all stay.
That's a really, really speedy way to say that you've solved the backlog, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Conservatives have quite rightly called this effectively an amnesty. How do we know that? Because even under the Tory government, which, whilst they proved completely useless and incompetent at doing anything about it, were instinctively opposed to mass uncontrolled immigration, the system for approving or processing asylum claims was very, very heavily biased towards saying yes. So 2/3 of applicants under the Tories were nodded through, and they were effectively nodded through. I've seen the way that this works, the guidance that's issued to Home Office staff. They're not even allowed to take much account of it if an asylum applicant is quite demonstrably lying. It's astonishing, you wouldn't really believe it, but Home Office staff are literally told, don't pay too much attention if they're lying. A bunch of things. Don't ask them too many distressing questions. I'm not making this up. They literally say, do not push them on difficult issues. So if that is the case under a Conservative regime, how much worse is it about to get under this government, stuffed as it is with ministers who can barely conceal their casual indifference to the crisis that we face?
That's a good term for it. And by the way, so they're all meeting at Blenheim Palace, Macron, all the European leaders, and this apparently is a gathering of something called the European Political Community, EPI for short. What is that? What is that? I thought we left Europe.
Yeah.
What is this?
That's a really good question. So I actually live really near Blenheim, and I've been seeing the build-up to this event because they close off the roads all around it. And when I saw it, I was like, what is this? What's going on here? And the whole reason we left the EU was not to be involved in the political side of it. You know, if the EU had not evolved into this tremendously overreaching political project, we might still be in it. You know, as a trading entity, how it started, it was quite useful to the UK. And actually, that carries on. And Sir Keir Starmer, as part of his reset with our relationship with the EU, which I think many people in this country and our listeners would like to be reset, but in a very different way, has been unbelievably kind of fawning towards all those leading figures today. And we see Ursula von der Leyen, the Queen of Brussels, being renewed for another term of European grandstanding. It's quite a sort of worrying indication of the way we go now. Both Sir Keir Starmer and Yvette Cooper came under quite a lot of pressure today from reporters who were trying to basically goad them into saying something like, well, we might kind of go back into the EU. Neither of them are stupid enough to have fallen for that. They both say very, very clearly today, we're not going back into the EU. But I think most people will get the mood music here, which is closer alignment.
Yeah, as I say, I think if anybody out there has ever heard of the European political community, do let me know. But there it is, EPI it's called, and you know, why are we a member of that? We left the EU, and obviously they've got these covert organisations that still allow them to gather and have their little discussions to determine our future against the democratic will of the people. And when Starmer drones on about his reset deal, you could spell that R-E-S-E-T, or my spelling would be R-E-J-O-I-N, rejoin. That's what's going on. The way they're going, I reckon that by the end of this administration, they'll just say, oh, sod it, let's forget the pretense, let's just rejoin. OK,
I just want to give our listeners a little bit of hope here, because
they could use it.
He is so bad. He's not, thus far, maybe he'll turn out to be better, but what I have seen so far, and I've been reporting on politics and prime ministerial performances for the best part of 20 years. This guy is so bad that in a few years' time, if there's much left of our country to save, there is going to be a revolution on the right, and there will be dramatic change of government.
Because of course, due to the size of this majority, 417, they call it the Loveless landslide. There's such a vast majority that Labour will entrench themselves. We were told for a generation,
I don't
maybe
believe that
10 to 15 years. The way Starmer's going, he's got one administration. He'll be out on his ear in 5 years. I mean, and by the way, this nonsensical, what's it called, the Border Security Command. Smash the gangs, smash the gangs. We won't go over what we said yesterday, but of course you can smash all the gangs you like. The migrants will keep coming. So this will not work. So the continuation of this word soup to say we're tackling everything, we're talking, is a scandal, really.
It's not even soup, Kevin. These are really nasty toasted croutons on the top of a horrible onion broth.
Like this.
And none of it is going to be palatable. It'll just leave you with bad breath.
Yeah, it really... well, yes, I think I agree with you.